Let's talk about April 7th, 2026. Now, on the surface, it looked like just another Tuesday. But what was really happening was something else entirely. 6 events, all on the same day, that seemed totally random and disconnected, but they weren't. They were tremors, signaling a massive industry-wide earthquake.
So, you might be wondering, how does a massive fine in Australia have anything to do with a corporate spy scandal or a new king in the world of AI? And how does that connect to a frantic arms race for computer chips and a huge pivot in what our reality is going to look like? Well, today, we're going to connect the dots. We'll see how these separate threads weave together to tell one single powerful story of massive change.
Okay, first up, tech's day of reckoning. For years, the giants of social media lived by that famous mantra, move fast and break things. Well, on April 7th, it kind of felt like accountability finally showed up to the party.
The day kicked off with this number, $381 million. That's the jaw-dropping fine an Australian federal court slapped on two of the biggest names in tech. But honestly, it's not the size of the check that really matters here. It's the reason for it. That's what changes everything. Yeah, this wasn't some simple privacy mistake. The court found that Meta, who got hit with a $215 million fine, and YouTube, fined $166 million, were guilty of deliberately designing their algorithms to be addictive for kids. And the key here was the evidence. We're talking about internal emails where engineers were literally told to maximize time on screen for children. One of the emails from Meta even said every extra second a teen stays on Instagram generates $0.003. This is a huge ruling. It's basically saying the design itself, the very thing that makes the money, can be illegal.
So while Meta and YouTube were dealing with these huge financial penalties, another tech giant was facing a different and maybe even more devastating kind of cost. We're talking about a catastrophic security failure. $750 million. That's how many LinkedIn users had their data stolen in one of the biggest corporate espionage hacks we've ever seen. But the real story isn't just the number, it's what the hackers were really after. So forget credit cards or social security numbers. Look at the hackers' goal on this chart: industrial espionage. This thing was a sophisticated, state-sponsored campaign that went completely undetected for a year and a half. They were targeting the private messages, the contacts, and the resumes of top tech execs, AI scientists, and chip engineers. And now that stolen database is sitting on the dark web for $50 million. It's basically a playbook for poaching talent, or, even worse, for stealing trade secrets. Just keep that thought in the back of your mind, because it connects directly to where we're going next. All right, let's move to our next story and see how this all starts to build. While the old guard was getting smacked with fines and dealing with hacks, a brand new power struggle was just erupting on the most important battlefield in tech right now: artificial intelligence. The race for AI supremacy just got a massive shakeup. So check this out. For the first time in over a year, OpenAI is not number one. According to the Chatbot Arena Leaderboard, which is a blind test, so it's legit, Anthropic's new model, Claude Opus 4.6, has actually taken the top spot. But that's not even the biggest story here. Look closely at number 3. That is the real shocker. This table right here, it lays out the new landscape perfectly. You've got Anthropic's model, which is apparently amazing at reasoning and coding, finally kicking GPT off the throne. But the bigger story is GLM-5. It's from a Chinese company most people had never heard of, called Zhipu AI. It just came out of nowhere and started outperforming Google's Gemini. This proves the AI race is not just OpenAI versus Google anymore. China is now a very serious contender. And you have to wonder, how much did data from hacks like the one at LinkedIn help them get there?
But here's the thing that makes GLM-5 a true game changer. It's open weight. So unlike the models from OpenAI or Google that you can only get to through the cloud, you can actually download GLM-5 and run it on your own servers. This is a massive deal for companies that are worried about data privacy and costs, and it really threatens the entire cloud-based business model that the current AI leaders have built.
Now, all this incredible AI power, it needs something to run on, right? And that brings us to our next front. This parallel war that's being fought over hardware and silicon. The fight for who's going to dominate AI is also a fight for who controls the physical manufacturing.
So on the consumer side, Samsung fired a huge shot with its new Galaxy S26 Ultra. I mean, its new screen hits an incredible 5,000 nits of brightness. That is nearly double the iPhone. But the real power move is what's on the inside.
Samsung is ditching Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips and going back to its own Exynos processor. And they're claiming it's 15% faster and can run powerful AI models right on the device.
But Samsung's move, as big as it is just a little skirmish compared to the war that Elon Musk just declared. $25 billion. That's the colossal investment he just announced for TeraFab, a project to build his very own completely independent chip-making empire.
So why this insane investment? Well, Musk basically explained that companies like TSMC and Intel just can't make the ultra-advanced, super specialized chips that Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI are going to need for their future products. So he's basically saying, fine, I'll do it myself. And his plan it's pure science fiction. He's building a facility to make these incredibly dense 2-nanometer chips and generate 1 terawatt of compute power every year. Now, to put that in perspective, that's double the computing output of the entire U.S. electrical grid. And where is he going to put all these super power-hungry data centers? Yep, in space. SpaceX actually filed for permission to launch up to 1 million data center satellites, all running on special radiation-hardened chips made by TeraFab. It's just a staggering level of ambition.
Okay, let's move to our final story and see how this all connects. While all these battles were raging over AI and silicon, the war that's been simmering for years over the next great computing platform, the thing that comes after the smartphone, it finally just ignited. So first, Apple officially confirmed what we've all been hearing rumors about for years. Apple AR glasses are coming in the fall of 2026. Tim Cook was highlighting their groundbreaking micro-LED display tech, promising up to 10,000 nits of brightness. The stage was set. But then, the bombshell. In what was just a stunning admission of failure, really, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta was abandoning its whole VR-centric metaverse strategy. After investing billions and billions of dollars, he basically admitted the market wants AR. So now, Meta is pivoting its entire Reality Labs division to compete head-to-head with Apple. And this table right here, it lays out the new battleground. The platform war for the next decade, it's not going to be fought in those clunky VR headsets. It's going to be fought over these lightweight, all-day augmented reality glasses that overlay digital info onto the real world. You can see Apple is betting on superior tech. I mean, look at that display brightness and custom chip at a premium price. Meanwhile, Meta is scrambling to play catch-up, aiming for the mass market with a much, much lower price point. After a decade of hype, the war for the next great computing device has finally, truly begun.
So, okay, after this whirlwind of a day, finds, hacks, new kings, new pivots, what does it all mean? How do these 6 stories fit together to paint one big picture of a transformed industry? What we saw on April 7th were really 4 fundamental shifts all happening at once. First, the age of unaccountable growth is over. The giants are being held responsible. Second, the AI race is no longer a monopoly. It's a global competition. Third, to win at AI, you have to control your own hardware, from the chip all the way up. And finally, the industry has placed its bet on the future of computing. And that future is augmented reality. One single day completely reset the chessboard. The rules have changed, the players are different, and the prizes are bigger than they've ever been. The old empires are starting to falter, and new ones are rising up to take their place. The board has been reset, so the question is no longer about who runs the world of tech today, but who is going to build tomorrow's.